Today I'm going to show you how I study a general conference talk. Hi friends, it's Marcy. Welcome back to Solid Gold Scripture Journals. Today for our scripture study journaling, I thought I would study another general conference talk. So here's the one I really enjoyed. I Pray He'll Use Us by Sharon Eubank. She's the first counselor in the Relief Society General Presidency, and I really enjoy her talks. I think she's just an example of a really smart woman who's really articulate. And I don't know. You know how you have your favorites? Okay, so she's one of my favorites. What I do when I go to study a general conference talk is I print it out. And while I'm printing it and getting my things together, I listen to the talk. So I kind of have it in my mind again before I go to study. Next thing I like to do is say a prayer so that I can have the Spirit with me and I can get what I need from the message. Just before I read it, I thought this talk is a really good example of how our church is a living church. The examples she uses about humanitarian efforts throughout the world are recent, so I really appreciated that. Firstly, here, I'll just go through and reread it. I'll take a pen and I'll mark the things that stand out to me. I'm going to show you what I loved about this talk. And if you also wanted to read the talk again and think about it, I'm positive that you would find other things that you love about the talk. And this is what I love about scripture study and studying general conference talks. We all get what we need from it, and it's all different for everyone. No wrong answers here. What I loved is first sentence, small efforts collectively make a big impact. And that is the beauty of life, I feel. The small things we do with daily habits make a big impact, but particularly in this talk with humanitarian efforts, the small things each of us does can have a big impact on the world. She tells a lot of stories and they're just great. I'll just share one. She showed a cookie made of phyllo dough and pistachio nuts, and it was a thank you made by a family who owned 3 bakeries in Syria. When the war came, the family was in a desperate situation and said they would have starved to death had they not received food from the Rama Latter-day Saint Charities kitchen. So it was a thank you, and the cookie of gratitude and remembrance is meant for all of us, all who prayed after watching the story on the news, all who volunteered when it was not convenient, and all who donated money to the humanitarian fund, trusting it would do some good. So I liked that there are 3 ways that we can help right off the bat. And you do what you can do. Pray, volunteer, and donate. Then she had a scripture. And sadly, I don't have the scripture reference, so I'll have to find that in a minute. But she said, this is in Alma, and thus in their prosperous circumstance, they did not send away any who were naked, or that were hungry, or that were athirst, or that were sick, or that had not been nourished, and they did not set their hearts upon riches. Therefore they were liberal to all, both old and young, both bond and free, both male and female, whether out of the church or in the church, having no respect to persons as to those who stood in need. And that's what we need to do. You can't judge. You can't just give to who you want to give. Anyone in need is in need and is worthy of our help. So I'm just going to take 1 second before I forget and look up that scripture. As a side note, I would just like to show you how I found this scripture. So often what I'll do, if I find a scripture or part of a scripture and I want to know where it is found exactly, I would just go, frankly, into Google and type in, and thus in their prosperous circumstance, they did not send away any who were naked, and maybe put Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints or Book of Mormon, and it will come up. on the computer. So that's an easy way to do it. I just wanted to see if I could find it without using my scriptures. So what I did was look for some keywords. So I looked for prosperous, and I went back to the index in the back of my triple combination, which is the Book of Mormon, Doctrine and Covenants, Pearl of Great Price. And I looked up prosperity. I couldn't find the scripture, so I didn't waste time fretting about it. And I just went on and I'm like, where else is there a really key phrase? So I looked up respect to persons, or having no respect to persons. And I looked up respect to persons, and there it is. Alma 1:30, church members are liberal to all, having no respect to persons. And this is the scripture that was cited. So I just went in, I marked it, Alma 1:30. And that is how you can find a scripture if you're just stuck with your paper book. So I thought that was really good, and it's true now like it was then. Then she tells stories of South African COVID relief, Afghan relief to the women there in Afghanistan, Haitian earthquake relief, German flood relief. Great stories. She quotes Elder Jeffrey R. Holland, prayers are answered most of the time by God using other people. I pray that He'll use us. I pray that we will be the answer to other people's prayers. That's beautiful. That's what I want to be. So I came to the end. I thought I was going to use this scripture as the scripture I would study today, Alma 1:30. But actually, when I got to the end, I felt more connected with this scripture here. So Jesus asked his apostle Simon Peter, "Do you love me?" The essence of the gospel is contained in how we answer that question for ourselves and feed his sheep. So Jesus said, "Do you love me?" And Simon Peter said, "Yes." And Jesus said, "Then feed my sheep." And so I really want to think about, how can I feed his sheep? And this is the crux to me of the lesson today and what I need to do. And what really came to mind was two things. And I'm going to go back to the beginning and show you. Pray, volunteer, and donate money to the humanitarian fund. That's what she talked about initially. So I can absolutely pray. Pray every day. When I watch the news and see a story, I can pray for those people, always. That is something that everyone can do. The other thing I really feel is the donations. To donate to the humanitarian fund. And something that goes along with it is to carefully think about and pray about those in need as I fast, and then pay a fast offering in a meaningful way. Sometimes I feel I fast, whatever. You maybe give some money, whatever. But while I'm fasting, I want to think about why I'm fasting, because I want to give that money to the church to help those in need. So that is what I got out of this conference talk today. I hope that you will have time to study a conference talk, and I also hope that you'll get what you need from it today as well. And I'll see you next time. Bye.